So I caught up with Noel Gallagher earlier in the week, Mark. Originally of Oasis, of course.
Correct.
But still making music with his high-flying birds. And I started by asking him how he's got on during lockdown.
I've been all right. It's been as most people, up and down, but more up than down. So not bad. Can't complain.
Have you been doing any of that, like homeschooling or anything like that? Kids?
Well, my kids are being homeschooled via the internet from their teachers, but I'm not getting involved in that. I don't even know. I don't even understand the questions, far alone, I'm aware of any of the answers. I'm just like, no, it's just way too complicated for me.
What about like guitar lessons or something like that? Are they into any of that?
No, my eldest lad is he's completely left-handed, so he's into drawing and doodling, and he's quite artistic, but not. I wouldn't say he's got the musical gene, but the little fella shows an interest. Every time I'm kind of playing something in the house, he'll come and find me and come and kind of try and join in. But I think he's probably, if he gets into music, he'll be some kind of Keith Moon character, because he's a bit of a loose cannon.
Is he? You going to get him some drums?
He's had some drums. He's actually had a go of when I was doing the Albert Hall once. He actually got behind the drum kit during the sound check and did a massive drum fill and fell off the stool. And I was like, you definitely got the Keith Moon thing going on.
Yeah, I was going to say. And what about football? Are they into football?
Well, they're City fans by birth, so they kind of have to fake an interest in that. But they're from that generation where they follow footballers instead of teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my youngest is a massive Ronaldo fan. So, he loves him, and my other lad kind of likes the game in general, but they're never really begging to go to the matches. Not like when we was growing up, where like the football was one of only two things you could be interested in, whereas now they've got like a million things to be interested in on a Saturday now, haven't they? So, I remember taking them to the first football match, and as it kicked off, they both said, how long is this going to last? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, and I said, well, about 2 hours. And they were going, 2 hours? It's only like 5 minutes on Match of the Day. I'm like, but this is what? This is a proper game. This is not the highlights. And I think after that, they were like, 2 hours? Not about this. But I've took them to a few games, and actually my eldest lad, the first game he ever went to was City were at Wembley in the FA Cup final against Wigan. And I was thinking, well, if his first game is Wembley against Wigan, who we will absolutely destroy, about 7-0 in this game, he's going to get the football bug. And, of course, we got beat. And it was a long day, and we got beat. And me and the lads from Manchester I go with, we blamed him. He was like, it's your first game, it must be you. There's no way we could have lost that game if it wasn't for you. So he didn't come for a while. But when we go up to the Etihad, they love it.
Do they do that? Sometimes you see kids as well. They have their little their phones and their iPads. They're playing on them as the games go on. Have you seen that?
Yeah, well, yeah, they do that. Well, particularly if it's like in the middle of November and it's freezing. Yeah. Well, they're just from a different generation because they've grown up with it on TV, right? They're like, why are we going? It's raining. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we grew up with it. We grew up with it going to the match. So when it was on TV, it was just an added bonus. But this, these young'uns, it's all about the phone and the screen. If it's on the phone, why on earth would you traipse 200 miles up north to go and watch it if they can watch it at home? No, they don't get it.
I mean, how do you feel about the season starting again? Are you going to watch the matches that are on terrestrial TV as well, with the looks?
I'm going to watch the City games, obviously, and the games that kind of matter, but really, am I going to be bothered about watching Norwich versus... I mean, all the games when people are getting relegated and all that will be interesting, but the kind of games that don't mean anything, you wouldn't watch them anyway. But I thought they should have avoided the season months ago, and I would rather they'd avoided the season, given Liverpool the title, and had a proper plan in place for next season, where over the last few months there's been this ramshackle, chaotic project restart, and once that's finished, then they turn to next season. Whereas I think I'm not sure how next season is going to feel or look, or even begins. You know what I mean? And this is before we talk about Champions League and FA Cups and all that. So if I was in charge, I would have avoided the whole thing. No Champions League, no FA Cup, and just said, look, next season is of paramount importance because we're still going to be living with this virus thing. So, they're going to have to work out how to get people in and out of stadiums and all that kind of thing. So I think they're leaving that to the last minute, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like, doesn't it? How do you think it's been this season for you? Well, I know obviously Liverpool have been fantastic, haven't they, in the Premier League, I suppose. But, I mean, the Champions League, has that become like a bit of a holy grail, you think, for City now?
Well, the season, I think we've lost it more than they've won it. I think if we'd have had half the defence out at one point, and playing midfielders, in the centre of defence and all that, I think we'd probably be neck and neck. I don't think Liverpool have got any better. I think we've kind of dropped the ball a little bit. But in terms of the Champions League, I was at the Bernabeu, the second last game we played, and we were great. And it kind of felt like, that night coming out of the Bernabeu and seeing the other results and thinking, you know what? I fancy it this year. Do you know what I mean? So one of the good things about the break in the season is if the Champions League comes back, we'll have a full squad again because we were missing Laporte and Sane and a few others. So hopefully, if it comes back, that works in our favour. But it would be just typical City if we win it in an empty stadium in Mogadishu somewhere on a Sunday morning, in front of no one.
No, well, this show is we touch on football culture, as they call it now, and we have like themes. This one is about trainers.
All right,
because it's a real British working class obsession. I kind of like had my first Adidas pair when I remember they were a pair of Gazelles when I was 8 and thought I was like Prince of the Valleys. You're a man that's well known for his collection. What do you think it is in our psyche that we just seem to love them so much?
Well, I don't know, but they were. Again, I think it's a thing that took hold in the late 70s and early 80s when entertainment and your youthful obsession with things didn't revolve around TikTok and Fortnite and Love Island and all that nonsense and Geordie Shore and all that. So we were into, music and trainers. But
I love that.
Music and trainers.
I know.
That's a life.
This is a philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a way of doing your business. I mean, I'd get rid of the Geordie Shore bit and just stick with the music and trainers if I was him.
Yeah.
Right, now, the good news is that we're getting tons of responses in, John, and we're absolutely going to be dealing with your favourite trainers. It's the attention to detail.
I've seen Oasis quite a few times.
Really?
Yes, quite a few times. And one thing I like about them is, and now Noel and Liam, the way they interact with the crowd, the way they got this relationship. So I asked him if it happens naturally or he makes a conscious effort.
If I'm in the mood, yeah. I mean, usually I don't really have a great deal to say. Rather let the music do the talking. But all the documentaries of all my favourite groups, all like great characters in them, like the Beatles, the Stones, the Jam, the Pistols, are great characters and who had something to say, whether it be in their music or just something to say on stage. And I guess I can't say it was a conscious thing where we have to talk to the crowd, but I'm not really. It's got to be in there from watching old videos and DVDs and all that kind of thing.
The Beatles in particular, they always looked like they were having the best laugh ever, didn't they? Sort of like from '63 on the verge of just like cracking up and laughing all the time. That's what I loved about the Beatles. They're my favourite band.
Listen. When I go see bands now, and everybody's really kind of career orientated and serious. I just think, I think one of the reasons why Oasis inspired a lot of people is we tried to make it look like we're living somebody else's dream here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we're getting paid to go around the world to have 20,000 people a night fall in love with you every night. Not only that, the booze is free. There's more women that you can shake a stick at. You know, it's like, who wants to be, who wants to be introspective? No one.
Yeah.
You know, let's have it, and then let's deal with the hangover, and, let's have it again after that. So I've always enjoyed what I do, because I'm like, I spent enough time on the dole in the 80s wondering what it would be like to be Mark Bolan, you know what I mean? Or what it would be like to be Paul Weller. When you finally get the chance, it's like, come on, man, this is the best job in the world. I've heard people moaning about travelling. Oh, the travelling, though. What? The travelling? What, in first class? Wow. That's tiring, is it? The only thing scared of is putting on weight. That's it. Free booze and, as many sausages as you can eat.
I mean, by sort of 94, 95, we weren't just music famous. You were front page of the Red Tops. You know what I mean? You were one of the most famous people, certainly in Britain at that time. I mean, did you ever think in the mid to late 80s that could happen to your life, where you'd become that famous and that well known?
Fame to me is just a big shrug of the shoulders. It's like, whatever. I don't mind it. I don't mind being famous. I wouldn't care if I wasn't famous. As soon as I wrote Live Forever and that batch of songs that became Definitely Maybe, it was like, if I get famous through writing these songs, then so be it. And we were famous for being a great band. I mean, people are now famous because sometimes, I'm forever saying to my kids, who's this clown? Who's it? And they're like, oh, that's, they'd say, well, that's KRS 24/7. And what's he famous for? Oh, he's really good at Fortnite. It's like, wow. And people are famous for being, love cheats on Love Island, and it's like, really, well, you're welcome to that. I mean, the kind of level of fame that we had was for music, and of course, when people dug deeper into who we were, there was a quite colourful lifestyle going on, and we weren't embarrassed about it. We never apologised for it. We never explained it. It was just like, this is who we are. This is what we do. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's great too.
One of the things that I think you did, and I say this all the time to people, was it was so unusual to hear anybody who was a rock star or pop star, whatever you want to call it, who was even admitted to liking football, and then you came unashamedly said, we are massive Man City football fans, and then the whole culture sort of exploded. I loved that. I loved the fact you always talked about like watching games.
Well, I tell you what, right? I was watching the Euro 96 relived thing, right, over the last couple of weeks. I was away in the Caribbean somewhere and seen most of it on the telly, but managed to get back for the semi-final, right? So we go to Wembley, and then the entire crowd breaks into Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, right? That god-awful rugby song. And I was like, who are all these people? These are not football fans. These are not... They're not football fans. They're England supporters, in inverted commas. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot at a football match. What? And I was watching it the other night, and lo and behold, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And there's like a different crowd appeared at football in 96, and it took off from there. That's when football really took off in this country. Before that, it was hardcore football supporters, and it was tribal, and it was, everybody was into their team and hated everybody else. Now, when you watch Euro 96, it's a load of rugby fans going, oh, England, man. Oh, Gaza. Hey, Gaza, And, Euro 96 kick-started it, but I don't think there was, I don't think it was a football crowd, let's put it that way.
Yes, it was. I suppose when football went mainstream, I suppose, in a sense, didn't it? Stopped becoming something that was the preserver of the working class, mostly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not knocking it. It was a good thing, you know what I mean? The whole stadiums were a great thing, and the way that football became a family-orientated thing was a great thing, because then there was more money in it. And once there's money in it, you get to see better players, and it's a better experience all around. But there wasn't football supporters as I knew them to be. Do you know what I mean? When I was growing up. Certainly not singing Swing Low. What? Get out of it.
You won't have any argument from me as an England rugby song, so it's not my kind of music.
Do you know what I mean? I'll be singing Jerusalem next. Nah, not on the football, mate. Nah.
I had we had a chat about kits last week, and we were saying that when we were kids, like this is the mid-70s, you just took any kit you could because you just have kits and you swap them around, cousins and all the rest of them. And I remember it was a Man City kit knocking around amongst me and my brothers, the beautiful pale blue one that you played with sort of like just that time before the FA Cup final. And then we got into a conversation. I wanted to speak to you about this. But a lot of people say about Ricky Villa's goal in the 81 Cup final. But I was saying Steve McKenzie scored the best goal in an English FA Cup final ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a great goal.
People piled in saying yes, like people were going, it's the great forgotten goal. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do. I remember both games. I remember the heartbreak when Tommy Hutchinson
left the wall.
Well, he left the wall and ran behind the wall and tried to second guess the thing, and of course he kind of headed it in the net. And the replay, Steve McKenzie's goal was amazing. If Zidane had scored that goal now, or when he was in his pomp, it was kind of Zidane-esque. But the winners always get to write history, don't they? So it's irrelevant now.
Well, this show will put it right. We'll put it up on YouTube as well. I'm going to put that goal up so a generation can see that goal because it needs to be seen. No, I just want to finish by asking you about what you're up to next. I loved the last album. I got to say, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. David Holmes, I'm a huge fan of him, the producer. Does some great stuff, and I just thought it was a brilliant move for you to go there. Is that kind of like where you're staying, keeping experimenting and stuff?
Well, I was supposed to do some work with David last year, but he got involved with the soundtrack for Killing Eve. He does all that stuff. So he was doing that, and then the timelines couldn't work. But David is he didn't admit to me he was a United fan until after the album. Right? Yeah. He didn't admit, and he's like, he's from Belfast, and he's going, but still, man, you got to respect Alex Ferguson. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? He's a massive United fan, but he said to me, if I'd have told you before the record, would we have still made the record? I was like, it's highly unlikely. But he was great as a producer because he pushed me all day, every day, all day to try to do it again, try something different. Don't do that. You've done that before. And actually, it gave me more confidence as a songwriter that I can try different things and, try different experiments in sound, and it still kind of sound like me. So, but what I'm going to do next, well, we have to wait till this is finished because unfortunately I'm a solo artist. I need people to work with me, and I don't think David will work on it, but I will take the lessons I learned. I'll take the lessons that I learned from that and endeavour to do something as interesting.
Oh, brilliant. I tell you what, I'm just made me think there, actually. I know you have kind of a long run-in sort of, you mentioned quite a lot. There's a few Liverpool fans knocking around in your band as well. Do you know what I mean?
There is.